Liverpool and Crystal Palace to resume negotiations over £45 million. Mark Guehi transfer. Crystal Palace beat Liverpool 3-2 on penalties after a 2-2 draw took the 2025 Community Shield final to a shootout on Sunday, but talks between the two clubs for the transfer of captain Mark Guehi are set to resume. Hugo Ekitike and Jeremy Frimpong marked their first competitive fixture with the Reds, with a goal apiece, but will have to wait for the Premier League season opener against Bournemouth for a chance at a first win. Liverpool's need for depth in attack and defense was again highlighted on Sunday, with Arne Slot's bench not as strong as it was last season, given recent transfers and the tragic death of Diogo Jota. The Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez transfers mean that Ekitike is the club's only strikers, with Cody Gakpo emphatic in the last year that he is not a number 9 and prefers playing on the wing. Liverpool remain interested in Alexander Isak and now appear to be readying another attempt to sign Mark Guehi. Last month, they were in pole position to sign Guehi before they pivoted to Isak, but they are ready to return to the table now. Liverpool launches a bid to sign Mark Guehi to replace Jarell Quansah. Since Quansah made his £35 million switch to Bayer Leverkusen, Liverpool have had a problem at centre-back, but they are now moving to solve the issue with a move to sign Mark Guehi. According to a report from Spanish news outlet, Fichajes titled Liverpool launches a bid to sign Mark Guehi. They claim that Liverpool and Crystal Palace will resume negotiations for Mark Guehi, valued at £45 million. Arne Slot reportedly wanted to sign Guehi since last season, and with the sheer amount of games Liverpool must play if they want to compete for every trophy, signing the England international is a pivotal move. Guehi, for his part, wants to qualify for the England squad for the 2026 FIFA World Cup and wants to play regularly enough to figure in Thomas Tuchel's thinking. Having won the Premier League last season, Liverpool are likely to be keen to make a stronger push in Europe after being eliminated from the Champions League by eventual winners PSG. Guehi's presence would enable Slot to rest Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate as he sees fit to keep them fresh for the end-of-season run-in. Fly high again, Benjamin Sesko reveals why he joined Unbelievable. Man UTD, a £74 million striker, sets targets after Old Trafford arrival. Benjamin Sesko says he wants Manchester United to fly high again, while revealing his reasons for joining the club. Sesko signs for Man UTD, wants club to fly high again, reveals why he joined them, recommended external content video. We need your consent to show you content our editorial team embedded from video. You can toggle this and all other embeds from video across goal.com on with one click only and deactivate as well. Always display video content. I confirm that I would like to see external content. Personal identifiable data could be transferred to third parties. What happened? Sesko swapped RB Leipzig for United for a fee worth up to £74 million, $100 million, on Saturday, with the 22-year-old signing a contract until 2030. Ahead of potentially making his club debut, the Slovenia international says United's unbelievable history was a big factor in him signing for Ruben Amorim's team, who finished 15th in the Premier League last term, among other reasons. What Sesko said: when asked about his ambitions at his new team, he told the club's website, "Just that we get better, that we connect together in general, and we as a team just try to grow together step by step because we're getting better. We're just even more complete and complete. It's just a matter of time when we can fly high again." On his reasons for joining United, he added, "I think first of all, because of the club, it's just a historical club that is unbelievable. For me, the team is great. It is getting better and better, and that's why also there is just stuff that makes you come there, gives you this energy that you want to be part of. I think it's a great project in general, and I can't wait to start, definitely, the bigger picture." While Sesko is thrilled to have joined the Premier League giants, the young forward will be under pressure to hit the ground running at Old Trafford. The Red Devils have struggled for goals in recent years, with strikers Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee providing just 7 between them last season. There isn't much time for an easing-in period, so the 6'5" in attacker needs to start well, else the critics will mount fast. What next? Sesko's new side begin their Premier League season on Sunday at home to rivals Arsenal before traveling to Fulham a week later. They then round off the month with a home clash against newly promoted Burnley on August 30th. Alexander Isak has played every transfer hit Liverpool need clear amid £150 million waiting game. The Echo's post-match talking point as the Reds are beaten on penalties in the Community Shield by Crystal Palace. Newcastle United striker Alexander Isak. For a club whose investment has reached historic levels this summer, it might seem peculiar to suggest Liverpool are undercooked. But with the defense of their Premier League title due to get underway in 5 days' time, the penalty shootout defeat to Crystal Palace in the Community Shield has shone the spotlight on the areas where improvement can be found for the champions. It would be wrong to suggest the 2-2 draw with FA Cup holders. Palace represented a screeching realization for Arne Slot about his squad's shortcomings. But it is clear that tactical tweaks and market moves are still needed before the Reds are fully equipped to go again. He had a good impact, but he is also an example of a player who came, I think, 1.5 to 2 weeks ago at the end of our Asian tour, said Arne Slot of Hugo Ekitike's eye-catching 70-minute cameo on Sunday. So for me, with only 3 or 4 days before the Friday game, it wouldn't be smart to play him for 90 minutes because, of course, we have Federico Chiesa, but he has not been on the Asian tour as well, so there's not a lot to replace him with. So, if he gets an injury at this moment of time, that would be a big risk for the Bournemouth, Newcastle, and Arsenal games. That's why I took him off, but he had a good game today, that's for sure. Ekitike, a £79 million arrival from Eintracht Frankfurt last month, has looked sharp, silky, and powerful during his limited time as a Reds player, but it's curious to note that he remains, for now, the only recognized senior center forward at the club. Cody Gakpo has always been a versatile, multifunctional sort of footballer, but Slot has shown no inclination to move the Netherlands international away from the left side of the attack, where he made his name at PSV Eindhoven and as a regular for the Dutch side. And given Gakpo recorded his best season to date on Merseyside last time out, it makes total sense to keep him stationed on the left. Even more so now Luis Diaz has moved to Bayern Munich in a £65.5 million deal. 16-year-old Rio Ngamoha has lit up pre-season at times, but he is a work in progress who is not yet ready to challenge Gakpo for a regular spot, despite the undoubted excitement around the talented teen. So the current situation leaves Liverpool with 4 senior forwards alongside Ngamoha, with one of them in Federico Chiesa, still with plenty to prove at Anfield. The Italy international's pedigree was talked up when he joined 12 months ago from Juventus, but there has been precious little evidence of why he has his reputation so far as a Liverpool player. Speculation over his future persists and minutes remain limited. Well, we just lost Darwin, Virgil van Dijk said at Wembley. He went to Saudi and we lost Lucho Diaz. Obviously, he went to Bayern. I think there's always room for an attacker in order to strengthen us. So let's see what the window brings in terms of the balance of the team. I said it last year, we had to trust the club, the board, and the people to make the right decisions in order to help the club to even improve in all positions. Even with the season we had last season, and I think that is a good sign, I think they have been doing pretty well. The decisions to allow both Diaz and Nunez to leave have been drawn into sharp focus. Liverpool have still looked a smooth operation in the final third at times in the 2 games played without the South American duo, but over the course of the campaign, it's clear the options are not as plentiful. The obvious asterisk is the unimaginably tragic loss of Diogo Jota in early July, but the willingness to sell Diaz and Nunez, who had both made it clear they wanted to leave, means sporting director Richard Hughes must have a plan. Much rests on the future of one-away Alexander Isak at Newcastle United, someone who has played all the hits in his efforts to leave St. James's Park. After deciding against joining the club on their tour of the Far East by citing a minor thigh injury, Isak then resumed training at former club Real Sociedad before returning to the Newcastle setup to step up his workload away from his teammates. Eddie Howe has been critical of Isak's conduct to a point, and reports of his banishing from a family barbecue at the club's training ground earlier this month suggested there is little way back for the former Sociedad striker in the Northeast, even if selling their star man remains an unpalatable prospect for Magpies. After seeing a £110 million buy rejected for the Sweden international earlier this month, Liverpool have made it clear negotiations won't resume while Newcastle remain without the players they have identified to replace Isak. It's been widely reported they have set an asking price at an eye-watering £150 million. But there might need to be some bartering before an eventual British transfer record sum is agreed upon. A lot depends on Newcastle's ability to source an adequate successor for Isak, but Andy Howe, the nephew of Eddie, has so far proven woefully out of his depth while in charge of recruitment in lieu of a full-time sporting director, which has been vacant since the combative Paul Mitchell stepped away. Never has the importance of a proper sporting operations department been more apparent given the raft of targets who have slipped through Newcastle's grasp in recent weeks. For Liverpool, they certainly have that, but the wait goes on to see if Hughes is able to add an Isak feather to his increasingly colorful cap. Slot may find himself having to make do with the current options at his disposal as the fascinating situation at Newcastle continues without a resolution seemingly in sight. Liverpool at least know who they want in their efforts to further renovate the attacking department. But the waiting game goes on. Arsenal fans convince Eberechi Eze is joining after hearing Community Shield comment. Steve Parish's comments have stirred up fans online. Crystal Palace chairman Steve Parish's comments about the future of Eberechi Eze following the Community Shield has sent Arsenal fans wild. Liverpool were handed a shock defeat in the domestic curtain raiser after Crystal Palace came from behind twice to win on penalties at Wembley. It was Palace's 21-year-old substitute Justin Devaney who secured their second ever trophy with an exceptional penalty into the top right corner. Following the match, Palace's FA Cup hero Eze was confronted by a fan on speculation linking him with a move to Arsenal. Eze's reaction was caught on camera and has since sent Arsenal fans wild on social media. Due to the intense speculation on the England international's future, Parish was quizzed by the media on the situation at full time, and his answers may concern Palace fans. Of course, but players come and go in football clubs, he told the media when asked if he intended to keep both Eze and Mark Guehi. It's a life cycle, isn't it? Hopefully they'll still be here. That's what I'd like to see, he added. The clip of the Palace chairman quickly gained traction online amongst Arsenal fans who are convinced the 60-year-old's comments mean a deal can be done. One fan wrote, "Eze is a gunner." Another added, "Eberechi Eze to Arsenal. Here we go." A third commented, "What kind of hopium is this? Welcome to Arsenal Eze. We need to submit a bid ASAP," a fourth insisted. Guehi could be sold Parish. Parish also commented more specifically on Guehi, whose precarious contract situation means the club could be forced into selling their captain. For players of that caliber to leave on a free, it's a problem for us, unfortunately, Parish explained via BBC. Joachim Andersen went to Fulham last summer, and we couldn't afford to lose both. We then had another bid for Guehi in January, but that was a different situation. He added, "We'll just have to see what happens, but it needs a new contract or a conclusion of some kind." Liverpool already have £150 million player amid Alexander Isak transfer saga. Liverpool have exactly 3 weeks to sign £150 R-rated Alexander Isak. Otherwise, they will have to wait until the January transfer window. Newcastle United striker Alexander Isak. Liverpool's Premier League title defense may begin later this week, but the club are still being linked with some huge transfers for Arne Slot's squad. Alexander Isak has dominated the headlines, and that looks set to continue until his situation is resolved. The 25-year-old is currently training alone at Newcastle United, having expressed a desire to depart. It has left them in a difficult position days before the league campaign starts, whilst long-term admirers Liverpool have already seen a bid worth £110 million rejected. According to The Telegraph, one of the conditions that would make the Reds' rivals consider selling Isak is if £150 million was on the line. Such a figure would smash both Liverpool's club record transfer and the British record too. Both were set only 2 months ago when Florian Wirtz completed his move to Anfield from Bayer Leverkusen. Deroin, a £100 million sum was paid up front for the midfielder, which was the club record amount. Then add-ons agreed by the two clubs could see the deal surpass British record and reach £116 million. Wirtz, 22, has gone on to complete his first pre-season with his new club. He opened his account with a goal against Yokohama F. Marinos last month in Japan, then followed up by assisting fellow summer signing Hugo Ekitike in the Community Shield match versus Crystal Palace at Wembley Stadium. Florian Wirtz featured for Liverpool against Crystal Palace in the Community Shield clash. Even before these early contributions for his new club, Wirtz was receiving high ratings. One of the most poignant was from the CIE's Football Observatory in Switzerland, who have become a reference point in the scientific estimation of transfer values. By July 18th, they were estimating that the German international was already worth more than the transfer fee Liverpool paid in June. Their estimate ranges between €149 million, £129.1 million, and €173 million, £149.9 million. So at the higher end of that spectrum, Liverpool already own a player on the cusp of the £150 million mark. The actual figure spent on Wirtz has been part of a near £300 spending spree so far this summer in Liverpool, benefiting from the recent sales of Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez, are in a strong position financially to be able to continue that spending on Isak or any other targets. The striker Newcastle United are waiting on, while Alexander Isak to Liverpool saga plays out. Newcastle United are interested in Nicholas Jackson, but may be waiting to see what happens with Alexander Isak before moving for the Chelsea striker. Jackson is a Newcastle United transfer target as Eddie Howe looks to bring more firepower into his squad ahead of the 2025-26 season. Indeed, the club wanted to sign a new forward even before Isak asked to leave Newcastle, with Callum Wilson having left upon the expiration of his contract. Chelsea want £80 million for Jackson, who scored 10 Premier League goals last season.